Welcome back, everybody. The History Guy here. This is episode 2, playing as North Korea. I am Kim Jong-un. If you want to see episode 1 and you're new to this series, it's in the link in the description below to go to the first episode of this series. It is January 2019. I am 2 years into this game, and the revitalization of my economy is beginning. And with that, I'm starting to focus on military industry, at least for now, so I can start unlocking these options here, which are going to start giving me additional factories, which I desperately need because I have so few as it is. Now, one of the things I want to do right now, at the beginning of this second episode, is I want to start opening up my economy a little bit. So I'm going to go to limited exports. I don't have a lot to export, but I have a little. And that's going to give me the option then to hopefully start extracting or exporting some of this extra steel I have, maybe a little bit of this tungsten, and hopefully that starts to give me a few extra factories because I've only got 5 civilian factories, and I'm using 2 of those to trade with China. So hopefully if I start exporting some things, that'll start freeing up some more factories for me. And we'll see what happens from there. So in the meantime, working on amphibious assault ships, jet engines, mobile warfare, land doctrine. And the other thing I noticed is that I got to do a little research to see how it affects modern warfare, but I know in the World War II era of things, the combat width, you don't want it to be this high. 75 is really wide for combat width, and it means I really am limiting the number of divisions that I can use in combat at one time. So I want to start building up some army experience so I can remove some of these units and give myself a little more flexibility with my infantry divisions. Now looking at my armored division, it's 57, which is a little better, but still kind of high. So I might remove a couple of these mechanized and motorized units from those. But we'll see what happens with all of that. All right, so we're into March now, and I'm going to go a step further and go to export focus as I continue to build up my economy. I get a lot of political power. I've got over 2 per day, so that gives me a lot of freedom to be able to mold and make things the way I wish. Now, with that said, I'm not really exporting anything yet. Well, I'm starting to, so not quite exporting as much as I'd like to, but we're getting there. So it's a good start. I'm going to look at my construction for just a second. I'm working on my second nuclear reactor. It's going to take a while to build, but I am currently starting to produce 1 nuke, and I'll get a second one along with that. I'm going to go ahead and start putting my military on exercises so we can build up some army experience so I can make those changes that I want to make to my military. Still about 22 days away from jet engines. Military Industry 1 will be done soon, and then we'll probably go civilian industry if I can. And then we'll start working on industrial development and going down this way. Well, there's some big news on the world stage. The United Kingdom has left the European Union. I don't think they're the first to do that, and they certainly won't be the last. As we're into April of 2019, I want to look at the situation here with some of these various groups. We've got NATO still pretty large. UK, US are still in that. There's Military Industry 1. I'm going to go ahead and go to industrial development next. Now we've got insufficient resources. Not a big deal. Alright, there's jet engines. I'm also going to hit expand the officer corps for the army. That's going to give me a quick 25 army experience points. We'll go ahead and keep working on these rocket engines. Just keep that thread open until it's complete. Now that I've done that, I can go ahead in and start making some of these necessary changes to my army. It's going to lower that combat width. It's also going to require less units on my part to keep these folks in the field. We're down to 64 now, so that's a little better. I think I'll still go a little further yet. That'll get it down to 60. I think that's a little more manageable than what I had. And then we'll do the same with armored divisions once I build up a little more experience. And the European Union continues to disintegrate. There is the Portuguese state leaving the EU as well. I think the UK is on their way to forming their own faction, which I know that is a tree that's available to them. Let's see if that's the way they're going. Theresa May. I'm not entirely sure if that's where she's going or not. I want to address something real quick. It was suggested to me that I ought to go after... Oh, there goes Croatia out of the European Union. That I should go after Republic of China or Taiwan as we know it. Reason I can't is the same reason I can't go after South Korea. And that is... Oh, there goes Slovakia. Yeah, European Union's falling apart. Taiwan's guaranteed independence by the United States. Same reason I can't go after South Korea, which has a remarkably similar to a Pepsi logo flag going on there. Fascist South Korea, which is interestingly guaranteed by the United States. All right, there's Amphibious Assault Ship 2. And we're also about to complete another national focus. I'm going to go ahead and... that doesn't really do me a lot right there. I don't think those are anything that I particularly need. We'll go next generation main battle tank. Like I said, I can't really pour too much into building new units. I'm better off to just upgrade the existing ones that I have. Alright, let's take a look here. I think we're going to start with civilian industry, because I'm not planning to go to war anytime real soon. Alright, since I have a lot of these points and I'm constantly able to do things with them, I think I'm going to go with Zhang Jin, who is a quartermaster general, is going to give me a 15% boost to various kinds of construction, including nuclear reactors, which is something I'm building currently. So I've only got 2 factories that are currently working on that, but that helps boost it a little bit. It's still going to take another almost 2 years until it's complete, until I free up some more factories anyway. There's mobile warfare. We're going to continue. We're just going to constantly have a land doctrine being researched. We're about halfway to civilian industry 2. 3 gets me another. So each one of these gets me additional civilian factories. These last 2 get me 2 and 3. So that's going to basically, by the time I'm done with this, I will have tripled the number of civilian factories that I have. But that's only going to be part of this. At some point, I've got to militarily expand. And it's just not that easy to do that. I've got to look for an option. And Vietnam makes it kind of rough just because of the issue of trying to land. What I really need is for China to allow me military access. And now I'm at negative 120. It was worse than that. People's Republic of China has strategic reasons to be hostile toward my country, which is really interesting because that wasn't the case before. So I'm not going to get any help whatsoever from China. I'm going to have to find someone else that I can get along with here, and I just don't know who that's going to be. I think basically all these countries I'm going to have the same base reluctance at negative 20. I may just have to go after Vietnam once again and just figure out what my best strategy might be. So I'll think about that a little bit. So there's improved rocket engines 2. We'll pause for just a second because I'm in the process of lightening up my armored divisions a little bit. And what I'm doing is I'm removing some of these mechanized and motorized infantry units just to kind of free them up a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and add maintenance companies. And so that pretty much takes out my army experience. It's got a combat width now down to 46. I want to try and get that under 40, so I'll let the exercises continue just a little bit longer. We'll finish up here with advanced rocket engines. And you can see I got about 148 days left to get my first nuclear bomb. Alright, so there's civilian industry 2. I'm in the process of starting to kind of do some preliminary orders for my naval invasions, but I'll hold up for just a second while I go ahead and deal with this national focus. We're going to keep going down civilian industry. Once I complete all of those, then I'll do the same with military industry, and we will have greatly improved my economy. So let's go ahead and take a look at this now. I'm going to let them keep doing exercise just a little bit longer, but once I get up to another 10 points, I think I'll stop them. All right, naval invasion orders. And I think we're going to do the entire invasion down here in the south. So that's going to be 24 divisions. We're going to basically take all these divisions, but we'll start letting them plan now, even before I start drumming up the justification for war. All right, so there's the second one. The second naval invasion I'm going to do right here near Ho Chi Minh City, because I've got to get a port to help with supplies. In the meantime, another research slot available. We've researched the next generation of main battle tanks, and we can upgrade what we're producing now, and then we're going to go up again in just a minute. And then I'll, just as soon as this army experience, which is about 0.14 a day, as soon as that gets to 10, I'm going to stop the exercises. Alright, there's Civilian Industry 3 as we get into November of 2019. And now is when we really start unlocking them, because now we'll get 2, and then the next one I'll get 3 more. So I've already gone from just 4 civilian factories available to having 6, and eventually we'll get even more than that. So things are starting to look up a little bit. I have gone ahead and begun justifying my war against Vietnam. And we're going to go ahead and start preparing a third invasion army to be ready to go. I want to do a paratroop order if I can, but I don't think I've got the range. Maybe we do. Okay, I want to pause for just a second because I've upgraded my main battle tanks again. I am going to have to produce, I think, some transport planes, because I'm fairly certain I don't have any yet. Yeah, maybe we do. Awesome. So we'll have a paratroop drop. We'll do that right about the time. This will be a lot like Normandy, at least that's my hope, is I'll land on both of these beaches. I'll drop my paratroopers right here. We'll quickly take Ho Chi Minh City. We'll try to wrap up the south and then be able to push up this narrow peninsula and take the whole country. So that's the goal. We'll see how it happens in reality. Let's go ahead and upgrade our light tanks. And now I've got to upgrade my main battle tank production. So we'll start getting some more advanced equipment out into the field. And then the last thing I need to do is go ahead and make one more change to my armored divisions here. And I want to get my combat width under 40 if I can. So we'll remove one more, and that gets me down to 38. That's where I want to be. So we'll see if that helps. All right, December 2019, Rocket Man has his advanced rocket engines. Let's go ahead and take a look here. Protected networks. So I don't know exactly what it is that those rocket engines are going to allow for me. It looks like it allows a boost to various kinds of rocket artillery attacks, which I don't really use much rocket artillery anyway. But it should enable advanced guided missiles. So let's take a look for just a second at any new options I have in production. Transport planes, which I know I need some of. Doesn't look like there's rocket interceptors right there. It's a short-range interceptor powered by a chemical rocket engine. That doesn't really do me a lot of good, though. What I desperately need are ICBMs, but I'm not even entirely sure those are a thing on this game. Let's go ahead and produce some some amphibious assault ships. And it's going to take a while before I can really produce any of those, it appears. I think we're good on convoys for the time being. All right, Gen 4 light tanks. Once again, we get to do some upgrading. Once again, I always seem to complete these right when it's auto-saving for the end of the month. We're going to go Gen 4 main battle tanks. So we continue to make these upgrades constantly. I'm actually not producing any of these at the moment, and I need 1,920 of them to fully upgrade my entire force. So as soon as I start getting some military factories, I'll start being able to produce those. We're almost done with Civilian Industry 4. almost done with my next land doctrine. So I should be in a much better position now that I'm in 2020, but especially by the time I get to June, which is when this attack should be commencing. We'll get to that for sure in this episode. So I've been working on these machine tools, threads, just to improve my production efficiency, trying to get the most out of what little I have. There's my Generation 4 main battle tanks. I'm only about 2 months away now from war. I've got my first nuclear weapon. North Korea officially a nuclear power now. So upgrading to the Generation 4 main battle tanks. Again, it's going to take forever to get all those fully upgraded. I've also done a few things with my government points, industrial company, which gives me a boost to civilian factory construction speed and factory output. I've added some people to my military staff. I think that's about it that I've done kind of off screen. Got another technology to do. Let's go Generation 5 light tank. And we'll just about have our tanks fully upgraded. Then I just need to start producing them. Civilian Industry 5 is very nearly done. I've got 35 days left. That's going to give me 3 new civilian factories. Then we start building the military factories. Then we can think about resource focus. And it's going to, it's really not going to add that much as far as production goes. It doesn't seem like it's worth it to spend all the time on those things. So I may have to look at some other options, maybe foreign policy. There's international alliances, which is going to allow me to create factions. So maybe I go that route at some point fairly soon. If I go recruit more diplomats, then we've got interventionalism here. I don't know. It doesn't seem like there's maybe a lot that can be done there that's really helpful. I don't want isolationism, that's for sure. Ideology focus is an option for me. I do have, somebody asked about this. There's a coup in Algeria. Let's pause for a second here. I do have ideology options here that can allow me to go down the route of democracy, path of democratic progress, which has got socialism, progressivism, social democracy. Those may be things that would greatly improve my standing in the world as well as my economy. I can also go fascism, which would be kind of interesting considering South Korea has gone the route of fascism. There's monarchy. There's, of course, communism, which I already have. So that's all stuff to think about, and I'd be curious to know your thoughts about that. So if you have a particular suggestion or request of what you think I should do, doesn't mean I'll necessarily do it, but I'm certainly interested in your thoughts as far as the direction I might take my country where those things are concerned. All right, there's Civilian Industry 5. That's a big one for me. That completes my focus on civilian industry. Now we do the same with military. Let's take a look where we stand now. Now I'm up to 11 civilian factories, which is a huge improvement. It seems small, and it really is small, but it's a huge improvement for me over where my economy was. And construction-wise, it's going to allow me to complete this second nuclear reactor a lot quicker, and then I'm going to start producing some more civilian factories, which won't take quite as long to produce. And I'll start slowly. It's kind of an exponential thing. The more you grow, the more you're able to grow. So it looks like everybody's ready for the invasion. And just as soon as I get the go-ahead, we're going to make this happen. And that's going to be June 12th. So that's coming up here in just a second. All right, so I realized, and this was a mistake on my part, that attacking way up here and then trying to link my armies was just kind of a stupid idea, especially because I've got to have a naval base in order to supply my army for the attack. So I want to concentrate all of my forces in one spot, which means I basically have to start over with my planning. It's going to take the better part of half a year to do that. So I got to see what the last available date that I have is, June, July, August. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to declare war by August of 2020, even though I won't be ready to launch this invasion. So we'll have to declare war, and then it'll basically be a Cold War for a little while until I can get my troops into position. But that's going to allow him time to prepare, which kind of stinks, but that's where I'm at. Okay, it's August 5th, 2020, and I'm going to go ahead and declare war on Vietnam. Obviously, I am not ready to invade. There's my military industry 2. We can go ahead and go military industry 3. The nice thing is here that now I have the ability to start actually producing some of these things, start upgrading to Gen 5 light tanks. I've actually got more than enough main battle tanks at the moment, so we'll have to look at all that in a little more detail as I go along. But the main thing here is now that he's going to be prepared for my invasion, which is unfortunate because I've still got 106 days, 3.5 months before I can actually launch my invasion. Just got my Generation 2 mechanized, and since I was good on main battle tanks, I've stopped producing them, at least for the time being. We're going to continue to work on upgrading those, however. And it looks like I've got some unassigned divisions, an infantry division. Don't really have anywhere to put that, so I'll put them here for now. Let's look at resources for just a second. Looks like I need to trade for some more rubber. Of course, we're at war, but nothing happened with that so far. I do have 60 divisions to his 34, but he's got twice the capacity I do for production. Still got 58 days to go in order to launch my invasion, so we're going to be into winter before this is ready to go, but we will get it going. Kingdom of Sweden leaves the European Union. EU doesn't have much left at this point. I'm ready to get a 5th paratrooper brigade out there, so hopefully by the time I do my paradrop, I'll actually have 5 I'll be able to do that with. And my plan is, as soon as I land in and around Ho Chi Minh City, I'll drop those guys in there, and hopefully, having taken 3 territories right off the bat, I can solidify things right here, send one of my armies south to clean that up, and then move the whole thing north. That's the plan. We'll see if it works out in reality. So I think for the time being, I'm going to go total mobilization so I can free up more production with my factories. It's going to reduce my manpower, but that's actually okay because I don't need the full manpower right now. What I need is production ability. So that's going to give me some additional factories. Got 7 working on construction right now. That one's going to be done in December, but once I get in desperate need for manpower, I can change that mobilization policy back to where it was. How close are we now? All right, we're only 21 days away. So end of November, right around Thanksgiving here in the United States, is where we're going to be able to launch this. Okay, we're ready to roll. Let's launch this invasion. As soon as I land, I'll drop my paratroopers in there. I've got 2 nukes, but I can't use them because my air power won't reach that far. The main thing here is if I can take Vietnam, that frees me up to go after the rest of of Southeast Asia because I'll have a launching point for all of those invasions, which will go much, much easier. And exponentially, I should be able to grow from there. So these first couple of episodes obviously are the really slow start in getting North Korea off the ground, but it should go a lot quicker once I'm able to conquer Vietnam, assuming I'm able to do that. But it all starts with taking a port that I can hold and get supplies. Where are we at here? All right, they're coming. I must not have seen them. Here they are. Modern Gen 2 mechanized. Let's keep going down that path. All right, we got to deal with trade here for a second. Need some more oil from China. Okay, here we go. He is going to give me a little bit of resistance here in Ho Chi Minh City, it appears. Hopefully that isn't too much of an issue. All right, we've taken the first side. Now, as the invasion commences right here, we get some pressure from another side, and we'll go ahead and bring the paratroopers in now too. Oh boy, not good. Not good at all. We're going to lose them. Yep, I lost my paratroopers. Well, that hurt. It's all going to come down to the land forces. He had troops sitting there, and they destroyed those paratroopers just as soon as they could get there. So I, right off the bat, lost, what, 20,000 men before I even blinked. And this isn't going much better. I got 24 divisions being whipped by 4 at the moment. And I wish I knew why that is. I mean, what is the issue besides supply? Let's take a look for a second here. So he's basically attacking with 1 division. And I've got 3 in my frontage. So it's really not going well right now, even though it looks like it is. I need these guys to land desperately. Research has to continue while all that's going on. Come on, guys, let's get there. All right, we're into a new year. It's 2021. Come on, guys, 6 more days. I've got to get Ho Chi Minh City because that's where the supplies are going to come in. And I just got to hope that this other army holds out because they're down to 20. They've lost 4 divisions. I really probably should have taken Ho Chi Minh City first. Alright, we're getting there, we're getting there. I should probably see if I can get these guys in there too. Come on, almost there. This really is the main thing right now, is I've got to get this beachhead established. Wow. Taking way longer than I had hoped. There it is. Alright, now we just got to hang on for dear life. Wow. Okay, I lost 2 more divisions over there. So let me kind of stop and kind of take stock of where I am because I've just got some real issues here that I've got to address and hopefully deal with. And the main thing is right now I've got to get these other divisions down there. Looks like some of the divisions went back home, I guess, was the issue. So we got to get these guys down there. Hopefully now we can establish something. I'm going to pause for just a second. Alright, so now the plan here is to get the rest of my troops in here and just hold on to Ho Chi Minh City while I start to break out and push the front line and hopefully establish enough of a beachhead that I can handle it with supplies. It's going to take a while to do that. But once I can at least get up this far, I'll feel a whole lot better about the situation. And I've got to get the rest of my forces down here. So let's go ahead and build a front line for this 3rd army. Which of course is up there. We'll see if maybe we can garrison them in Ho Chi Minh City. And just give them an order to garrison down there. We'll see if that works. Guard naval bases and victory points. Military Industry 4 is complete. Obviously, as I look at, if I look at the situation here, I've lost 106,000 men. 20 or so thousand of those were in that initial attack. But just taking Ho Chi Minh City put me at 44% in favor as far as the war goes. So I shouldn't need to take too much to force the issue and hopefully turn this into a victory. So I'm going to pause for a second here again just so I can kind of clean up some of these issues. Alright, thankfully reinforcements are a-coming. I just hope that they're not coming too late, because it's pretty ugly at the moment. I don't need much. If I could just take a couple of these cities, I think I'd be set. It's just hard to do when you're so far from home. You can't offer air protection. I've got a pretty decent air force, but they're out of my reach. It makes it tough. Alright, let's... Gotta start inflicting some casualties on this guy. I'm down to 49 divisions. He's still got 31. Overall manpower, he's got 600... I mean, manpower is relatively even, unfortunately, which gives him all kinds of advantages. See if I can rush some of these new units into the field and assign them. I'm going to pause for a second so I can do that. We'll assign all of them to this army here. As soon as they're able to, they should be able to rush down to get into the field. They've just got to get their organization up first. All right, we're breaking out. Awesome. That's what I needed. I needed to break out a little bit. Now that I do that, this should start to go quicker. It's February 2021. I just needed that extended line because now I can start breaking out against him a little bit. His casualties will start climbing. I've got to take these victory points. I wish he had an airfield somewhere. I don't think he does. I don't see anywhere that I can get my air power down there, so that's really frustrating. We're going to have to build some airfields once I take over Vietnam. This, I think, is about as hard as this series will get, is taking Vietnam. Once I do that, I think things ease up for me quite a bit. Alright, so we got a research slot free. We're a little ahead on those things. What about naval doctrine? We'll get our subs updated a little bit. Got to upgrade our mechanized. Alright, come on guys. Let's break out. Let's get these other territories and we'll be in good shape. Alright, we're making our way down the peninsula. As soon as I can crush these armies, it makes things way easier because then I've only got one front to deal with. Starting to feel a lot better about this situation than I was even a few minutes ago. Alright, let's look at air power, because once I can take over Vietnam, I can start building some airfields there, and then I'll get my air forces down there, and they'll be there for me to start launching my invasions of places like Laos, Cambodia, Thailand, etc. He still hasn't moved anymore as far as the meter goes towards surrender, but his casualties are going up fast, which is what I want to see. Alright, China, we need a little more. We're going to trade with Thailand now. Alright, he's up to 75. He's going to, fairly soon, he's going to pass me in casualties finally. Okay, we're just about there on the peninsula. As soon as I do that, I get to turn around the other way because it looks like he's making a little bit of a breakthrough against me. There we have it. So now everybody goes up this way. So it means having to kind of issue some new orders. And everybody gets up on this line. We're getting some new troops are going to be arriving now. We'll kind of reset things. He's lost 212,000 men now because I destroyed some more of his forces. Now we just got to make the push up the peninsula, take enough victory points to win this war. I'm not entirely sure what to make of this, but the European Union has left the European Union. Whatever that means. Netherlands leaves. So I think basically what this means is the European Union has ceased to exist. Military Industry 5. War's going kind of rough at the moment just because I'm having some issues. Just trying to get these guys back up to snuff on organization. Once I get them resupplied and reinforced, we'll be able to push through and hopefully end this thing. He's lost 220,000 men. He's only got 27 divisions left. I've lost 139,000, and most of that was early on in the fight. So it's going really, really well. It's just kind of a slow process at this point. So we're going to go ahead and we've completed now the military industry part of my tree. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to ideology focus for a little while here and see what more I can do in that realm. Got to do some things with trade because I've actually freed up some more factories now because I've created those. And I've got a need for just about everything at the moment just because of having to reinforce my forces that have lost. So we'll try and finish up this war, and that'll be the end of this episode once I complete my conquest of Vietnam. Alright, so I've got some of this army experience. I'm going to use some of it to upgrade my tanks, but I think I'll actually upgrade my main battle tanks rather than my light tanks. And I want to start with reliability and then kind of work from there. I've got 111 points right now, so this is going to get their armor up, soft attack up, hard attack up, piercing up, and reliability will get that up to 96.8%. So there we go. So we're going to start producing the Mark 1s instead. And hopefully that'll make a difference out on the battlefield. So while everything else is going on, I am working on the national focus for changing kind of how I do things, and I'm choosing to move away from communism as North Korea. Now, I don't know what that's going to mean. It may mean bad things as far as China is concerned, but I'm going to go on the path of order, which is going to start me toward either fascism, nationalism, monarchism, or Islamism, and we'll decide when we get there which one of those I'll choose. But what I'm doing right now is construction. I'm trying to get some more naval bases built down here in a couple of territories so I can improve my supply. Two things I need. Number one is more supply. Number two is air superiority so I can start dropping some nukes on these people and break them out of there. And I can't get air superiority even though I have plenty of planes because of my lack of supply. So supply is going to solve all my issues right now. Okay, let's do this. This is the only way I'm going to end this war. North Korea is now nuking Vietnam. That hopefully should soften things up a little bit. Now let's see if we can overrun these guys. My goodness, it's ugly. But Kim Jong-un's got to do what Kim Jong-un's got to do. So we'll drive these guys out. Just need a couple more territories. And I'll be able to end this thing. Obviously, his casualties just skyrocketed. He's only got 419,000 manpower left. I'm up to 1 million manpower as I've been pumping out the divisions and shipping them down there as quick as I can into Vietnam and then worrying about reinforcing them later. It seems to be doing the trick. I just got to see what more is it going to take to finish this. Still got 27 divisions. He's still got half of his victory points available to him. Alright, I dropped my other 2 nukes. I am out of nuclear weapons now, but he's down to just 272,000 men available in his army. And I think that's going to do the trick. The nukes sure made things kind of choppy on the gameplay, though. But I think we should be able to overrun these guys now. Then again, who knows? Obviously still having major supply issues, which is making it really difficult. Man, I just can't wait to overcome this, get past Vietnam, and then be able to establish myself in Southeast Asia in such a way that I can start moving on these other countries once I recover from this disastrous war. Alright, it's February 2022 now. This is taking way longer than I ever wanted it to. But we are making progress up the peninsula. Those nukes kind of broke things loose. Now I just want to get some more. I've only got 2 nuclear reactors, so I'm only building 2 of these per year. He's down to just 24 divisions. He's only got 166,000 men left. I've got to be getting close to breaking him. The Beijing Olympics, we're at 58%. It just seems like most of his victory points must be in the north at this point. So we're slowly making progress up the peninsula. I'm guessing we're going to have to get all the way up here to Da Nang, and then eventually to take Hanoi itself. So it's going to be a long drive up the coast, but we're getting close to where it's only 1 province wide, and it's really just a matter of racing to the end. In the meantime, I'm working on foreign policy now because I'm not quite ready to make a decision about monarchism, nationalism, or fascism, and I'd love to hear some of your input on that anyway. So we're getting there. All right, there's our foreign policy national focus complete. He's down to just 64,000 men. It's really not long. It's just a matter of how quickly I can race up to Hanoi and take his capital. In the meantime, I'm going to pause here and take a look at my foreign policy options. International alliances is going to allow me to create factions. So as I complete my conquest of Vietnam, I will have opened up a whole new world for myself with the ability to create factions. And what I'll probably do is look at the various countries that are out there in the world and what their ideologies are, whether they're fascist or nationalist, whatever it might be, before I decide what I choose to do myself, because that's going to determine who I ally myself with. Obviously, I'm going to go after these countries here: Laos, Cambodia, Thailand, Burma, or Myanmar, I guess it is. But for now, it's just a matter of taking Hanoi, and I think this thing will be done. He's at 67% toward capitulation. It only took, 3 years to finish this war? I mean, it's better than the U.S. did in real life in Vietnam, I guess. All right, I've taken Hanoi. And that's going to do it for this thing. We're going to take all states. And we're going to be done with this. Vietnam is ours. Time to pause, time to stop, because that was a lot of work. That was a long episode, I have no doubt. I don't really know how long it was because I do this in pieces, but I know it's going to be a long one. But all's well that ends well, and I have massively improved my options in this game now that I've taken Vietnam as my own. So I'm going to stop right there, regroup, take a look at where things stand, and then move forward and start thinking about where to go next. We've got the Kingdom of Cambodia, the Republic of Laos, the Empire of Thailand. So a lot of options out there. So we'll kind of look at the world and where things stand at the beginning of the next episode. Thanks for bearing with me through that long attack and conquest of Vietnam. Please hit that thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see you again real soon. Thanks for watching, guys.